The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Health from the Inside Out. I'm Dr. Cutter, surgical oncologist with Curetology Surgical Oncology, and I'm your host this evening. Happy J15, Madam Vice President. She is a soror of mine, and today is J15, so we all know what that's about. And so I could not start the show without that. This is the first show of the new year, 2021. You know, 2020 was supposed to be the year where we had a very strong vision, right? 2020 vision. And I think we did, because the events of the year really forced everyone to declare themselves, to determine who they were and what they valued. And so no matter what the outcome is, I think we've all learned a lot about ourselves and those around us, and we are now looking for the future. Everyone is desperately looking for the future. So many things happened in 2020, but I think it's like most years. At the end of the year, people say, well, what do I want things to be like in this next year? And so people are tempted to make these New Year's resolutions. And you know me, I'm a little bit of a rebel when it comes to things like that. I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions. I do believe in making commitments to ourselves. And most of my commitments are around health and wellness and relationships and things like that, you know, a lot of quality in life. And so I want us, as we talk today, we're going to kind of open the door on a discussion about how 2021 might be a little bit different for each of us. So I'm going to try to stay away from the 2020 terminology, the resolution terminology, and just kind of delve into more of commitments, what it is that we're committed to do in our lives, because it's the only way to really make some type of a stable and enduring change. So we have several guests with us, either via Zoom or in person. So we're going to go through and talk with each of them because they're all experts and they're here to share with you. Now, I must confess, I've had a long week and I'm tired today, so I need you guys to energize me. So I want you to give a call in and have some really motivating questions and some interesting questions that we can then share with everyone else who's viewing. So you want to call in to Morris Media Studios at 323-815-4204. That number to call is 323-815-4204. And if you want others to watch this with you, you can have them check this out on YouTube with MorrisMediaLive.com. That's one way to view it. That's MorrisMediaLive.com, and that's another opportunity to join in with us. And you can always go to the website for the station, and you can get information there, or check out 4 Point Media online. That's another way. All right, so we now have all of our introductions in there. So one of the things that's really near and dear to my heart is health and fitness. There's so much in our lives that really depends on our dietary choices and changes, as well as how we conduct our lives day to day. And I think I'm like most people where, I have challenges in health and everything too, from the standpoint of staying fit, or at least, keeping my diet on track when you get busy. So I think we're really fortunate because we have somebody here today who's going to really share a lot of good information with us. This is CJ. Now, CJ is kind of like Cher and Beyonce and everything. There's no last name, okay? There's just CJ. So this is what we're dealing with today, everybody. We've got CJ. So CJ, welcome. I know that he does a show and he works on some of the other entertainment venues for 4 Point Media. So definitely check him out. And, towards the end of things, he's going to talk to us about some things that he's working on, some projects and things like that, so that you can kind of keep up with CJ. But CJ, I'm glad to have you with me today.
So good to be here, Doctor.
Yes,
So
yes.
good.
I was pooped when I came in here, but I got to get energized with all these lights and the cameras and everything. So I'm glad CJ is here. Now, one thing that I really like to talk about, especially with my patients and things like that, is diet. My specialty, as most of you know, is surgical oncology. So that's cancer surgery. And I'm not sure how many of you know this, but actually, well, I'll ask CJ and see if he knows the answer to this. But the number one modifiable risk factor for cancer is, do you know?
The number one exercise.
Modifiable risk factor would be tobacco.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm putting him on the spot, okay? So forgive him. He had no idea, and I'm
Oh, wait a
asking
minute.
it a question in a way that, it's doctor speak, so that's why you're not.
See, I didn't know, but
He knows this. He
but,
knows it.
but I'm ready, Doctor.
But tobacco, right?
Tobacco.
Smoking and everything like that. People stop smoking, and smoking doesn't just cause lung cancer, but it's GI tract cancer. So esophagus, stomach, pancreas, all of those things and more are caused by smoking. In addition, vessel disease and all that. And you guys know me; I could talk about this for a long time. But maybe you'll guess this, maybe not. And I'm putting him on the spot again, so I'm going to stop.
You didn't say you would do
What do you
that.
think? I know I didn't. Did I? I
You
don't know.
did. You did.
But what do you think is replacing tobacco as the number one modifiable risk factor for cancer? And the hint is this is within your area of specialty and focus. So what's the bad thing that people are doing?
I'm going to take a long guess in this game show, and I'll say poor eating.
Okay. See? This is the right guess for the right time for the right people.
And I'm not
here
a doctor.
we are.
I'm a trainer. So, all right. But, let me throw this back at you, Doctor.
So it's obesity. I just want to say it very clearly. It's
overeating or
obesity is replacing tobacco.
Right.
So think about it. Obesity is worse than smoking to cause cancer and a number of other things.
Yes.
Diabetes, hypertension, strokes, all of that stuff. So you have a question for me.
I do, because I want to show that we're
Let's do it.
we're right back on track here. Now, we talk about smoking and along with sedentary lifestyles, we understand the obesity part.
Yeah.
Now, I train clients and I get them in the best shape of their life after they're ex-smokers. Why does it take so long? I mean, even after they get in shape, for the lungs to repair. They'll gain muscle, they'll lose body weight, but there's a certain sticking point where they continue to stay tired as they smoke.
Right.
So being back on track, why does it take so long? Why is smoking so damaging to the lungs?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about smoking and the impact and everything. So I want to give you a little fun fact about smoking and surgery. So let's say that you're obese and you're going to have obesity surgery. I don't do obesity surgery, by the way, but let's say that you're going to be doing that. Do you know that they make you stop smoking at least 6 to 8 weeks before that surgery, and you are not allowed to smoke for about a year? And you might think, okay, why is that? It's kind of the same answer. Smoking doesn't just get into the lungs, right? Like that's the obvious thing. You inhale smoke, it gets in there, and it starts to destroy things. So smoking is destructive. So think about it like this. Let's say somebody had some needles and some blades. And, every time you saw them, they would prick you with a needle, right? And they would cut you with a blade. So if they prick you with the needle, you're not going to see those as much. But over time, you're going to start to get sores. Same thing with the blade. Like the first time, maybe it'll heal. But after a while, your skin is going to get rough. Think about it. And it's going to start being hard. That's what's happening with smoking. It's like an ongoing injury, okay? And not just to the lung tissue, it's also to small vessels. So that is what's happening in terms of things like surgery and smoking. They want you to stop smoking because smoking or tobacco attacks the small blood vessels. You need those vessels to heal, right? That's what carries all the healthy factors and everything to an area. That's also good if you are working out. You need oxygen and calcium and all these things for your muscles, right? But if your blood vessels have been destroyed by smoking, what are you going to do? So working out is kind of like cancer in that it stimulates new blood vessels to grow. So it takes some time for those to grow. In addition to that, it takes a while for the lungs to remodel, right? First they have to realize that you've stopped smoking. So they've been protecting themselves for the longest, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh, the smoke is coming. But one day it doesn't come. They're like, what's going on? And then the next day, well, maybe I can expand a little bit. Maybe I can remodel. So it takes a while for them to remodel themselves.
Awesome.
So
And
that was a good question.
And it does take a long time. And I noticed
So what do you notice? I mean, let's say that somebody comes to you, they've been smoking for 10 years. They're like, look, I'm overweight and, my breathing is not very good. I'd like to get back into shape. What are you experiencing with them?
well, after 6 months, after a 6 month cessation period, you are seeing health benefits.
Good.
You are seeing the fat loss, but the scale weight kind of stays the same with our smokers. Their inches are coming down,
Good.
but for some reason they're gaining muscle. But there's a sticking point with the cardiovascular.
Right.
And we've always talked about this through NASM and ALPHA and all those, but having a doctor right here in front of us educating us, why does it take so? Is there damage to the lung that I know things heal around the lungs, but are there particles within inside that just don't heal?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So it's kind of the same thing with the liver. Liver gets damaged by fat. So maybe you have an obese patient. They can develop fatty liver disease. And there's a certain stage of fatty liver disease that just doesn't recover. And that is the pathway to cirrhosis. So believe it or not, obesity is a pathway to a disease that we used to just associate with drinkers, right? With alcoholics and things like that. But that's another pathway, as well. So you are right on target with what it is that you're talking about. But one thing that I really want people to start to understand is there's an interplay between fitness, right?
Oh, yes.
And nutrition. Okay, and so there's a certain component that you can achieve with fitness, but if your nutrition is not on target, you're not going anywhere as well as you need to. So talk to us about how you help people to kind of get to some type of a nutritional arrangement that works for them. What's your approach?
Well, I tell my clients the body will always improve. But if you want to see the improvement, you got to watch what you put in your body,
Yeah.
And you can have great muscles and you can have great movement, functional movement, because we
Right.
talk about functional fitness all the time.
Right.
But if that layer of fat is still bothering your heart, well, what's the use? So to keep it real simple for my clients, there's so many fads, and I don't believe in fads or trends. I don't believe in goals, in resolutions either. I wanted to chime in with
Okay,
that.
good. Another convert, everybody.
Oh, I'm not a
No
convert. I've
resolution.
been that way. I'm the non-resolutionist, and hopefully we'll get to that in a minute.
Commitment, right? Accountability.
It's really about, if you really want to detail, it's really about calories in, and then your energy expenditure.
Right.
So if you're expending energy more than you're eating, even if it's crap, it's a benefit.
Right.
But
It's better if it's not
it's
crap.
better if it's not crap.
Yeah.
It's better if you're putting green vegetables in your system. It's better if you're drinking a lot of water as opposed to even carbonated water or even dyed foods, drinks with dyes in them. It's so much better to let nature take its course and do what it does in your body so your body can function while you're training,
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I have a little question for you.
Ask away.
Now, you made me think of it when you started talking about the dyes and all those things in beverages, because I have this thing about what I drink. Like I only drink the water from my home, which is like double filtered and things like that, and then I drink some, little vitamin water and things like that. But I dilute everything. Like sweet things, I don't drink anymore. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, and maybe this is off the mark for you, so you have the right to say, hey, look, I don't do that part, but about detox. So I really believe that, sometimes the liver can get overwhelmed. Like, all this crap we're drinking, people who drink pop and eating fast food and everything. That's why we get fatty liver disease, because things kind of collect in the liver and hang out and take up space. So I'm wondering if you have any recommendations for people as you're training them, helping them to get back into shape in terms of what do you recommend in terms of detox? I know what I talk about. I'm just kind of curious what you talk about.
Well, I'm very glad that you are a doctor that talks about detoxing. Now, there are many forms of detoxing and many, you know all the trends. I like green juice cleanses. I like
nice.
I like anything with lemon. I like anything with juicing vegetables.
Cucumber
Celery, things of that
Yes.
nature.
That's
Kale.
like the power combo is the cucumber, celery,
Antioxidants.
and the lemon. Oh my gosh, You guys, I'm getting excited. I really like this.
See,
stuff.
okay, we're vibing now. Trust me, she's on a whole other intellectual
I'm
planet.
Up. You guys, I'm so tired today, but I'm like,
I
my
can see
energy's
it.
coming back.
But we're gonna be doing push-ups in a minute. But I
Yes!
do every 6 months. I do myself go on my self detox, and it involves veggie juicing, and also dark berries and dark fruits. I mix that in there to give it some flavor. But this is what I put my clients on for 7 days to get that rebuild, that kickstart. Because yes, you can lose your weight, feel good, eating better, but there's that point where it's like, man, nothing's moving because of the liver, the toxins,
the sludge.
Let me tell you, I'm just so I don't hear many doctors getting this deep. As far as I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting excited.
This is my cancer overlay, is health and wellness, because I don't just talk to people about this is the surgery I'm going to do. I kind of go through this whole thing about, look, we have to work on your diet. You need to hydrate more. You need to rest.
So awesome.
You need that 8 hours of sleep every night. That's also associated with obesity, which I found out the hard way, by the way, everybody.
Come on now.
Because I wasn't sleeping very much because I was so busy and there was a lot of stress going on in the hospital, COVID and all this stuff. So I was sleeping like 5 hours a night.
Wow.
And then I did some reading because I was picking up a little weight. I'm like, what is going on? And then I really realized sleep is so important in terms of maintaining your proper weight.
Can I give you guys a Blue's Clues? I'm going to ask the good doctor.
Ooh.
Doctor, how long do Olympians, we're talking about champions in the top peak physical condition, NBA athletes that really value their career, how long do they sleep?
I don't really know. Do you know the answer? I know
do.
You do.
I do. 12 to 14 hours a day.
Because you have to rebuild, remodel. You have to reorder your brain. You have to reorder your muscles. You have to.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, yep. And
you have to repair.
You do. And there's also timing between eating and sleeping. You
Yes.
know, if you eat too late,
Yeah.
you're giving your body two things to do, two jobs. Wait,
Yeah.
I got to sleep and I got to work this food down.
Guilty as charged.
Well, okay.
I'm sorry. Not all the
so
time.
we're healing each other here.
It's not that I do it intentionally, but sometimes, like last night, I had an emergency patient. I had to do this case. I had to wait around for it to start, and then it started late, and the next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock. And then you're faced with this decision. Okay, it's 9. I have to write my notes, write the orders. Then I get to go home. Do I eat nothing because I haven't had anything for 6-7 hours waiting for this case? Or do I have something healthy? And so I usually have soup or a salad, like something relatively light, because I feel like my body still needs fuel, but I always feel guilty about it. And then I go to bed at 1-2 o'clock so that I have plenty of time to try to digest it. I kind of play these tricks on my body. It's like, stop it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. This is done in the evening though, right?
Yeah.
So listen, small meals, and you said stuff like soup.
Yes.
Soup,
Broth based,
broth
not
based,
cream.
Yes.
The
good thing about the broths and stuff is it tends to run right through you, and it's not doing as much damage as if you're eating a steak before you go to bed.
And some people do that, which I don't understand that.
Well, it's the problem with the American diet.
That's my second favorite topic. Okay.
We've had it wrong for years.
Yes.
Our biggest eating should be done literally when we have our first meal.
Yes. Absolutely.
We're on the same page.
Totally. And so people who are like, oh, I don't eat breakfast, because I'm trying to lose weight and everything. I'm like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
It's the worst thing you could do.
Do you drive your car without gas? Do you drive your car without oil? Do you drive your car without fluids? Like, you need these things in order for your body to function properly. So if you've been starving all night, and then you starve through breakfast until lunch, what are you doing?
Right. Well, they talk about, that's my intermittent fasting. No, there's a difference between intermittent fasting and just not eating until, it doesn't make sense. I want you all to picture your body, doctor, as a fire furnace. It's cold, and you need to keep that fire going.
Okay. The fire furnace. And the coals are going down, right? Okay.
Well, are you just going to sit there and let it burn out, right? Or are you going to just throw a little bit more? If you throw too much coals on it, it's going to smother.
Right.
If you throw just enough to keep it going, the energy will sustain. We're
Stoking
talking about
the fire.
Exactly.
You want to stoke it.
Stoking the
Stoke
fire.
your body. Okay, stoke it.
I've been stoking.
It's a new word. We coined it here.
We coined it right here.
We repeat it.
We be stoking up in here.
CJ and Cutter. This is it.
Exactly.
Right here. Okay.
Yeah, the CC combination, right? She's gonna cut you, and I'm gonna CJ you. Yeah, but that's what it's all about. If you don't look at your body, you are an energy.
Right.
And I've been preaching this message for years. And if you don't feed your body energy at the right time, now many of our clients they really don't know the right times. I'm sure when you're talking to your pre-op clients and, what's your diet like? And I can't believe we're eating like this. I can't believe we're here.
Oh no, I spend a fair amount of time really digging into that because I know that it has a lot to do with how my wounds are going to heal, right? How they're going to respond to their chemotherapy or their radiation. It's critical. What you eat and your activity. Every single patient I operate on, part of my discharge instructions are walk 30 minutes a day
Yes.
for 2 weeks solid. After the 2 weeks, when you come back and see me, if you want to be a bum, you can. Unless you have cancer and you have other treatments, then you need to continue walking. But the other people, if you want to just let this go, then that's up to you. But for that 2 weeks, and it makes all the difference. Pain is decreased. Their whole GI function has improved. I had one woman, oh my gosh, she was morbidly obese, a young woman about 22, and she was huge. And I said, you have to walk every day for 30 minutes. She lost weight. For those 2 weeks, she lost a fair amount of weight. She got very excited. She got more energy. And she's like, I'm going to change my life. Like, this is what I'm going to do now. And I've had people tell me that. So just walking
Yes.
to begin.
This is why we're going to kick the word resolution out.
Yes.
And then we're going to bring in the word goals.
Uh-oh.
Now let's bring in an analogy.
Okay.
Let's talk about now I'm going to talk about my ladies, for women. When do you, and what stage in life that you commit to, that you decide to lose as much weight as you can for? Most women
Wedding.
come on, you said
The
it.
wedding.
Ding, 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 ding. The wedding.
You go from 8,000 pounds today, and in 2 weeks, you want to be 2 pounds and fit in the little tiny dress, and then you blow up again, right?
So doctor, where does that start? In the activity or in the mind? It started in the mind first.
You have to see it.
You have to see it. That's why get rid of the resolution and get with the goal.
But can we not I don't like that goal, and let me tell you why, because I like things that are durable. Like, I don't really start my patients on things that I feel that they cannot continue or sustain. I'm not going to say, start this crazy diet and, after 3 months, when you can't do it anymore, you're going to pick up all of your weight and more. I don't want that. What I want is things that people can commit to. Lifestyle changes, right?
Now, remember we talked about small goals? It goes the same as small goals.
Yeah.
So after my clients get a goal,
Right.
my next challenge is, because you're dealing with people that are at that life or death decision and they have to listen. I'm stopping these people from getting there.
Yeah.
So the small goals keeps them going. When they're done with one goal, all right, well, hey, how about that honeymoon? That's the next goal that keeps them busy. My aunt, you know who you can do this to?
It's
also?
like kids, you're like, it's
Yes.
Christmas is coming, so,
Here's one for you. Here's a real. I trained a radio personality, and if I wasn't so tired, I would have called and said, "Hey, can I?"
So you're tired too. Okay.
Oh,
so we're both getting
trainers
more
get tired.
energy. This is good. They're getting more energy here.
She was addicted to. All her diet consisted of Snicker bars. You hear her when I say this, and I can't wait. And I will have her on. Maybe we'll have her on my show
Let her
one day.
reveal herself.
Yeah,
You don't want
but
to call
let
her
me-
out.
But when we talk about goals,
Yeah.
when I first sat down with her initial assessment, I said, "Can we let's start?" I knew I couldn't wean her off because
Right.
she says I'm addicted. I'm a sugar mama. That's what she said.
So
she
you
was.
just decrease it.
So I said, "Hey, can we just cut it in half for this week?" Sure. Do you know what she did?
What'd
She
she do?
fell on the floor like an actress do and started crying. It took me 2 weeks to convince her to cut the Snicker bars out, but I guaranteed her if we did this for like at least a couple of weeks, along with maybe 5 pounds in 2 weeks, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Small goals.
Yeah.
Before you know it, we got her ready for 3 months later. We got her ready for NAACP, her award after her stage play.
That's great.
But then we had constant goals, constant vision. So that I don't mean one goal and done, because I have goals. I reach a goal. It's time for the next goal.
Right.
I take that entrepreneur spirit. We find new goals. Doctor, you're finding goals every day. If your goal is to keep this patient alive, that's one. But guess what? You have challenges of doing that every day to somebody else. So we'll call it Cole goals. All right.
Uh-oh.
So that
From goals to goals.
if I'd explain it.
Okay, so I have another question for you, and this is more on exercise,
Mm-hmm.
because I really liked, exercise and things like that. I had a knee injury, so that kind of slowed me down a few years ago and everything, but, I've recovered from that. But that's off topic. But what I want to know about is protein. I really want to talk about protein. So I want people to hear about the importance of protein, because I think sometimes when people are changing their diet or making modifications, they're like, oh, all I ate today was a salad or a this or that. You need to have some variety, and protein is one of them. So say a little bit about protein.
Let's keep
and
it.
then after this, we're going to go and see some of our friends on Zoom, because we've got 2 guests on Zoom that we really want to talk to. And then we're going to come back and see Mr. CJ.
All right, let's talk about protein, Doc. Listen, guys. You are a protein.
Yes.
So why are you avoiding putting protein in your body?
I'm saying.
Protein is meant to actually grow and repair. Also, there are reparative values to having protein in your body. So for these people that say, well, I eat meat, I understand, but you don't even know what to get after that.
Right.
You don't even know that protein can be in vegetables and beans, legumes. There's proteins you can find anywhere. It's so important.
It is.
You are the protein. So why would you starve yourself from that?
Right.
It's needed. Now, it's not like carbs and fat, where you need fat to sustain your brain. You need carbs to sustain energy.
You do.
But guess what? To function, you need to have good, and I say good, clean proteins. Like I haven't eaten beef. I haven't eaten beef in like, what, 2 years? I had given it up.
Nice.
I don't do turkeys. I don't do. The only meat I eat is chicken, and it's in small amounts because I realized my body doesn't need all that. Now, I was a guy that was big on. I used to be a bodybuilder. I have a functional frame now, but I used to be a bodybuilder where I thought I had to have 3 steaks. I had 2 plates of chicken and 5 potatoes to sustain my protein
I've seen
and
that
carbs.
bodybuilder diet. It's no joke.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's unhealthy because we talk
is.
about overloading the
Oh
furnace.
my gosh. And your poor kidneys.
Oh, I was just as bad as an obese person, and I had 6% body fat, but I was around 230 pounds, unhealthy because I kept throwing that meat. When I got clean meats into my system, shortened my portions, and realized I didn't need all of that, and also realized I can get it through my vegetables. Your kales. Believe it or not, those have proteins in it. Every element that you consume in your body has some element of something. You just have to educate yourself as to what. Beans, legumes. You can put 2 proteins together and make that complete protein.
Right.
All right. So that's the benefit of protein, guys. you protein. All right.
So pardon the pun, but everybody marinate on that, okay?
Exactly.
Marinate on the
Like,
protein
doo-doo-doo.
until, we get back to CJ. But I want to switch gears a little bit because we've got 2 experts kind of hanging out on Zoom to join us that way. We are respecting all of the recommendations from the CDC. We are socially distanced, all of these things
Yes.
here. And so we didn't have enough room for everybody in the studio. So we do have a couple people joining us on from Zoom, and we're all Zoom heads now, right? Every night of my life I'm on
Oh, my
Zoom,
God.
but that's a whole nother story. So the first person I really want to talk with is someone by the name of David Doe. Now, David works with Medicare and insurance and things like that, and he's an advisor. So this is somebody that's really important to a whole population that's trying to figure out how do we bring together the resources we need to promote health. So David, are you still there with us on Zoom? Can you join us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
great. I can hear you. I thought I'd have to put on the headphones, but I don't, so I'm happy about that. Welcome, David. We have so much that we really need to learn and understand about getting the right insurance. And I know that you do a little insurance broker work and all of those things. Why don't you tell people what situations would somebody find themselves in where they would need to talk to somebody like you?
Honestly, that's everybody, 100% of people that are especially new to Medicare and need that guidance.
What's
Because
the age
not
when they can
one,
start Medicare?
well, you start Medicare typically at age 65.
Okay, at 65. Are there any exceptions to that? Anybody who's of different
Yes,
ages that can do Medicare?
definitely for people with certain disabilities,
Okay,
they can get it at any age.
okay. And then, once you have Medicare, I know that from being a physician that, you can have just straight Medicare, or you can have Medicare with HMOs and things like that. Just kind of give us an overview as to some of the differences between those categories, Medicare alone or Medicare with an HMO. How would somebody make that choice?
Right. So that depends on 2 factors. Number one is what medical system, health system, or / doctors and hospitals that you want to be affiliated with or want to see. So that will depend on the Medicare Advantage plan, which is the HMO side typically, or like you said, a straight Medicare plus a supplemental insurance. Because for people that just start out with getting their Medicare at 65, it'll only cover 80% of the costs.
Oh, so the
So
rest of it
it's
comes out
in
of
most
pocket?
people's best interest, if they want to go that route and have straight Medicare, they want to get a Medicare supplement to go with it to cover that other 20%.
So let's say I'm age 65. I have no medical problems, right? I'm healthy and fit. I've been working out with CJ, so I'm like buff and everything. And so, I don't really take any medications. I don't have any chronic conditions. what type of Medicare approach should I take? Should I get into some type of an HMO, or should I go straight Medicare? What would you advise somebody in that scenario?
Yeah, Dr. Carter, that's a very good point to start this conversation because it all depends on the individual. And for the healthy people that take no prescriptions, just go to the doctor for the annual physical, that sort of scenario, in most cases, I would probably recommend a Medicare Advantage plan because not only are the ways you cover their doctors and hospitals different, but the cost. Healthcare, it's all about the cost,
I
right?
see.
So in an HMO/Medicare Advantage plan, typically here in LA County, it's a zero monthly premium. So you not only save money, but you're basically kind of because of your great health.
Okay.
So I try to help people to find the right plan that in most cases they could keep their same doctors that they've been seeing while they're employed, for example.
So if
So
somebody were to come to you and they have, in their mind, like what they might want in terms of their health care and things like that, what type of information do they need to bring to somebody like you so that you can assist them with making a choice? Do they need to bring their ID? Do they need to bring their prior insurance, any health records? What is it that you need in order to provide the best advice?
so the main things I would need is if they have any particular, number one would be their providers, meaning their doctors that they really have a good relationship, a long-term relationship with, because that's to them, that's very important to them, right? To continue to have that relationship with their doctors. So that would really help me to steer them in a good direction where they can keep their primary doctors and their specialists, and also if they have any prescription drugs, because that'll also determine which plan I can matchmake them with, because every prescription drug plan or HMO plan covers a different list of medications.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's not a one size fit all. So it's really important for you to have someone local, a local broker like myself that knows the area. Because if
Right.
you're talking to somebody in the East Coast, they're not going to know the different doctors here in Southern California.
Right, right. Then that can be a problem. I have
Right.
another scenario for you. This is a real life scenario. So, somebody in my life, somebody that, I'm fairly close to, an older gentleman, he and his wife came to me. They had some concerns about his health. He was in, let's say he was in plan A today, not like Medicare plan A, but he was in XYZ health plan, but he wasn't really getting the services that he wanted. And there were several months between now and open enrollment. Are people able to make changes during the year in any way if they're not getting the services they want? Or, how can people get the services they need if they really aren't getting it in the current coverage? What would be your recommendations, or what are some of the avenues?
Yeah, that's a great point, doctor, because right now, since the open enrollment ended December 7th,
Right.
we're basically what they call a lock-in period. So for people that already have Medicare and they're not happy with their plan, there's definitely ways for me to look at their situation and see if there's any kind of SEP or what they call special enrollment period. So there's certain what they would call qualifying life events that they could take advantage of. So again, this is everybody's situation is different. For example, let's say somebody who just recently moved from a different state to California, that would qualify them to find the right plan. Another thing is if they're relatively low income and they have Medicaid/Medi-Cal, or even Extra Help or LIS, which is not quite as low income as Medi-Cal, but it's kind of the second level. And then there's also other things like if they had some sort of a chronic illness like diabetes, there are certain plans that are tailored for people with those chronic conditions. And those people can change at any time of the year. So
So a
there's
life
certain
event.
different factors that they have and they can take
Right.
advantage of if they talk to an advisor like myself.
That's great. So basically you're saying, hey, buy a new house, move to a new state, just pick up and go to Arizona. Okay. This is how you can make, no, I'm kidding. But it's basically a life event is what really permits you to do that with some type of ease. It sounds like otherwise you kind of have to wait a little bit or find another way of getting that done. My final question to you, of course, I always, somehow work everything towards cancer. What can I say? I love the topic. But, sometimes I have people come to me and say, look, I've been going to this place, this doctor, what have you, and, I'm not really getting the answers I need about my treatment. And I always say, well, why don't we get a second opinion at this place? Okay. And oftentimes, maybe that's not coverage. Is there a way to get coverage for a second opinion outside of the network or what have you? Or do you have to kind of stay inside the network to get that type of second opinion paid for if you're in an HMO?
Yeah, that's really the pros and cons of an HMO Medicare Advantage type of plan versus if you're on straight Medicare with a supplemental.
Okay.
Because in an HMO environment, you are basically stuck with the medical group, which is a group of doctors and hospitals within the health system. So if you get referred to an oncology, typically that's pretty much your only opinion that you're going to get within that medical group. So in that situation, if you want second opinion, third opinion, that's where the Medicare supplement with straight Medicare shines, because you're not limited to a network of doctors and hospitals. So you can go pretty much anywhere without any referrals. However, there's an associated cost. So you do have to pay an extra monthly cost for that.
I see.
So there is a cost versus benefits dynamic that you have to think about.
Well, this has been really informative. There's a whole population that takes advantage of Medicare, and, this is how they get their care. And, sometimes it's difficult when you're first starting out. So I think the perspectives that you shared just really kind of help to launch people into a situation where they can advocate for themselves and make really good decisions. If they want to get in touch with a insurance broker or that type of thing, or get in touch with you, what's a good way to get some type of assistance? Do you have a phone number or a website, or is there anything that you recommend?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I would recommend getting somebody that's very local to your area. I work primarily in the South Bay, Torrance area, but I do service pretty much most of Southern California.
Okay.
So, but I assume a lot of the viewers are here in Southern California, so I could be of service for you, and you can reach me. My name is David Doe at area code 310-995-7186. That's my direct line.
One more time. They didn't have a pen.
Oh, sure. It's 310-995-7186.
Great. David, thank you so much for being with us. It's fun to have you on Zoom. Like I said, we spend half our lives on Zoom these days. I think they're probably making a fortune, and my goodness, I don't even know where the stock is right now, but it's probably doing pretty well. So thank you for joining us. Speaking of insurance, CJ is still here with us in the studio, so we're going to get back to him, but we do have somebody from another type of insurance. This is life insurance. So life insurance can be kind of mysterious to some people. So we do have an expert, and, correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but it's Jamie Galvin, and he's also joining us via Zoom. So we're having the Zoom conferences for insurance. Jamie, are you still with us, or did you go out for cocktails? Jamie went out for cocktails. No, he has to unmute his mic. Unmute yourself, Jamie. Don't be shy.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. It's nice
Sorry
to
about
talk
that. I was
to
trying
you.
to unmute myself and it wasn't letting me. But
Isn't
I'm
this
glad
the-
to be here.
Isn't this the way with every Zoom? I swear, somebody has to have unmute problems, right? I mean, how many times, every single call I've been on, and I've been on like 100 and something people and 20 people, 4 people, somebody has to unmute somehow. So don't worry
I was
about
trying
it.
to press Alt-A to unmute and I was like, this isn't working. I'm just going to manually do this.
Welcome, Jamie. I'm so glad you're here. One
It's
thing
actually
that
Jaime Galvan.
Jaime. See, I knew there was
Yeah.
something, and that's why I kind of made my little my thing at the beginning. So I knew I was mispronouncing something. So Jaime, thank you so much, and thank you for giving me your
Of
correct
course,
name.
glad to be here.
So just tell us real quick. What is your field in terms of life insurance? Are you a broker? Are you an expert advisor? Like, what kinds of things do you do with life insurance?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm actually a broker with an agency called Family First Life, And basically what I do is I help out people with trying to figure out, the best plans for them. I go over with them the different types of companies that are available, and we just try to see, what is, the best fit for, their needs. And we offer many varieties of different types of insurance. So I can basically help out anyone with whatever they're looking for in regards to their life insurance needs.
Okay, I love that. And I'm glad that you have kind of a broad catchment, because sometimes people get funneled into one particular company or one particular type of life insurance product or what have you, and maybe it doesn't suit their needs. So the fact that you have this kind of broad reach and range really gives people an
Right.
opportunity to, sign up with the right life insurance. And is there any type of benefit in terms of preventive care or things like that from a life insurance standpoint? Does that alter your rates? Do you get, better coverage? What do you have to say about that?
Define what you mean by preventive care.
So let's say, you have somebody who is, seeing the doctor regularly, they
Okay.
are eating healthfully, they're losing weight, they're working with CJ and they're getting buff and strong and, getting to that point where, I used to be 5 years ago before I, started my private practice, and hurt my knee. So is there any benefit to pursuing, a certain type of lifestyle in terms of life insurance?
That's actually a great question. As you were mentioning all that, I came to started thinking about this one company called John Hancock, and they actually reward you for becoming healthier, right?
Right.
So the way their plan works, it's called Vitality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so every year you're gonna have your yearly checkup, right, with the company. And if like you start dropping weight, like let's say you lose like 20 pounds within the year, what they actually do is they actually reduce your premium amounts by, I believe, 10%. And they'll keep on doing that for about, I think, 5 years. And they also
Wow.
do really cool things where they'll give you like free Fitbits. They'll give you
Wow.
discounts for Whole Foods. They wanna promote a healthy lifestyle. So anything that you do in order to, stay active and become healthier, they reward you for that. But typically the grading behind it, as long as you're in good health and you're taking care of yourself, then you're going to be fine. You typically you get what's called a preferred rating, meaning that it's the best rating that you could possibly get. So it's at the most discounted price available.
Okay, you know what? What you've just done is you've given another lever to CJ so that when he's working with people, he can tell them, look, if you continue to work with me, you're going to get a break on your life insurance. Call Jaime and he can help you with
So
that.
important.
So all of a sudden we have some synergy here. I like it,
It,
right?
it does work hand in hand.
It does. We're building a team.
100%.
Okay, I'm liking this a lot. Okay, same, So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about life insurance and life
Yeah, of
insurance
course.
products because, I have to admit to you, I get a little mystified with the life insurance products. I mean, there's certain products that if you pay your premiums for a certain number of years, you can cash out. And then there's other premiums if you pay it and then, it just is when you die. Like what are the products that you can cash out on or explain that one to us. How does that work?
Um, there are two products that work like that. They're the permanent plans, which could be categorized as either whole life or universal life, and then the other would be return of premium, which is a type of term insurance where you only have it for a set amount of time. So let's say, for example, you outlive your policy and your policy was set for 30 years. What the company does is that they just return all your premiums back. So it's kind of like think of it as like a savings just in case, the worst, most unfortunate thing were to happen to you, right? They'll give you back your money. And in terms of like the whole life and the cash value, the best way that I can describe it, to put it in simple terms, imagine you have two buckets, right? There's one bucket that's going for your cost of insurance, and then
Okay.
the other bucket is the cash value. And so when you pay your monthly premiums, one gets distributed to the cash value, the other goes to the cost of insurance. And in your cash value, that's where you essentially start building up a savings as to where you can kind of pull out the money from it. But
It's like a
there's a lot of
mortgage, right?
misconception behind that. A lot of people think that it works like a savings account, but that's not really the case. Think of it as like you're your own bank,
Right.
right? And if you ever needed to take out a loan, why go to a bank, right, where you can you're gonna get like this crazy like interest rate, you know, to
Right.
start off with, when you can be your own bank by getting your life insurance and pulling out that money. And either way, it benefits you because one, you're getting an increase on your own money, right? Because you're putting it into the cash value savings, and at the same time, the interest rates, you're paying it off to yourself.
Right.
So it's just it's honestly, it's a no-brainer. I would love to go more into detail with that, but that I feel like is a topic where it's like, man, we would have to really dissect that
You need a
and go into it.
whiteboard and
I,
some
I would
markers
love to
and
do
yeah.
that one day.
I mean, to me, it sounds like that's a little bit like a mortgage, right? You know how a mortgage is similar, where you're paying the bank for your property, right? And by the way, we never own anything in this country because you always have to pay taxes on it. So you're never
Right.
fully
Of
owning.
course.
But, you know, when you're paying your mortgage, a portion of it goes to the principal, the other portion goes to the interest. But the principal is what gives you the equity, and you can take the equity out of it. So it sounds like that's kind of similar, where, you know, the cost of insurance is your interest, if you will, and then the cash value is, you know, the equity, if you will, in the policy. Is that similar for people who want to relate it to something they know?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty spot on. The cost of insurance is more of just the cost of insurance, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just like you have to pay that off because you're paying for an insurance, because at the end of the day, it's a service that you have, right? And then the cash value is just think of it as like a lot of agents like to say like it's like a savings, but in reality it's more of like you kind of become your own bank, right?
Right.
So if you ever wanted to finance stuff, why finance through like the traditional means when there's so much more benefits behind it if you became your own bank?
Right. So my last question really is about age. You know, ages in
Right.
terms of getting life insurance. Because think about it. You know, we see all these different ads. You know, younger people never believe that they need life insurance, but it's probably a good vehicle for savings and investment. And so, you know, older people, of course, it seems like they're kind of too old. So is there, you know, what is your commentary in terms of age? Is there a too old, a too young, or does everybody have an opportunity to really benefit from life insurance based on the type of product they buy? What would you say about age in
Right.
general? I know it's a
I
broad
think
question.
age does really play a big role into it, because obviously the younger you are, the way insurance companies look at it is like they look at health and age, right? And if you're younger, they'll see it as like, oh, okay, there's healthier, they're expected to live longer, versus if you're more on the older side, they look at it as like, oh, like we have to kind of balance this out, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's all based off of like what makes sense for you, you know, like because not everyone necessarily does need a life insurance. But if you're in a situation where, let's say, you know, you're the breadwinner, or you're someone that wants to leave behind something to their family to maybe pay off their final expenses or to replace income, then I would say, you know, an insurance policy is definitely something that you can look at, because you can have that benefit and that peace of mind knowing that if something ever happened to you, that the insurance would take care of all of those needs. So I would say it's based off of really what's going on in your own personal situation, and then talking to someone like me and being able to like helping with assist of with what kind of plan do you want in mind, and we'll help you design that.
Jaime, if somebody wanted to speak with you or somebody like you to get some advice on insurance, life insurance, and things like that, what would be the best way of getting in touch?
Yeah, of course. Best way would probably be through cell phone. So my cell phone is 818-903-7140.
One more time.
818-903-7140. And you could also find me on social media. I'm on Facebook. Full name is Jaime Galvan. And then I'm also on Instagram. My IG handle is tenacious_J17. So if that way, if you want to kind of get to know me more personally, I post a lot on Instagram, so feel free to follow me.
Okay, I gotta say, Jaime, this is not a dating service or anything. So hopefully, you're that's not what we're. No,
No,
I'm
no,
kidding.
no.
I'm totally kidding. It's a joke. I'm just joking. No, it really is a pleasure to have you on here. And I think that people of different ages, again, some people are like me who are a little bit mystified by life insurance, not knowing when to buy, what to buy, and all those things. And you did a great job of really explaining the vehicles and actually some of the things that can help us to reduce our premiums. So I really want to thank you for being with us, Jaime. It's very helpful. And everyone who's watching, if you need some advice or assistance, you have his phone number and, also the access to Facebook. So definitely check him out. So I want to just get back to CJ just in the time that we have left. I mean, I think we've kind of learned a few things here, especially the whole insurance benefit of being healthy and fit. One of the reasons why I did ask this question is I have, somebody in my life who works for a company and they said, if you work out, your insurance premiums are less for this company and things like that. And so, they're like, I'm going to try to work out. And then they work out and then they come home and have a cheeseburger. Okay. So what just happened? What is going on? That's something that I think is so interesting. People who are really fit and buff and everything, especially people who cycle, because I have a lot of friends who cycle. I used to cycle. I don't trust the LA driver, so I don't cycle here. Okay. But I have a bike and everything. But people who cycle, they love to cycle and then go have a beer. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about those kinds of habits. I try to explain to people what I think the deleterious effect of that is, or, what goes wrong when you do that. So talk to us about, I'm going to go work out or play a sport, I'm a tennis player, whatever. And then afterwards, I'm going to go to, I'm not going to name a fast food restaurant, but I'm going to go have some type of fatty thing or some unhealthy, non-nutritious, no protein having thing. So what is the impact on recovery from workouts?
So here's the impact. The key word is discipline. Now, I will turn this around. The greats stay focused on everything in their greatness. I mean, it is what it is. Now, the people that think they're great, they're beating everybody at their level and excelling. I can do 100 push-ups. Yeah. But the problem is, why can't you do 110?
Right. What is your personal best?
What is your personal best? Everybody's competing with the rest.
Right.
And we haven't even excelled in our best.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, if you want to be the best, see, I don't cheat on my food because I am the best at what I do. I love that. If you want to try me, come try me. I'm going to show you I'm the best.
I love it.
I'm getting close to my 50s, and I look amazing. At least
you're supposed to let me say something like that. He's I look good.
I'm so blessed. I'm just going to name it and claim it. It is what it is. And you know why?
That's funny.
Because when I'm done working out, I understand that the reward is not even the workout. It's the afterburn of the workout. There's this epoch zone where you're still burning calories.
Let's talk about that. That is one of my favorite things is the afterburn. I mean, I can actually feel it after I work out. I can actually feel the afterburn. I'm just it's exciting, right? There's endorphins involved and everything. It is very exciting. So let's talk about the afterburn.
And there's constant calorie burn. When you're done working out, you haven't even peaked your calorie burn yet. The calorie burn begins right after when you're done and you're in that rest period and your heart's still going, it's coming down. Mm-hmm. That's that epoch burn, that post burn.
What do you call it? The
epoch.
What does that mean?
And the analogy slips me. I will get it for you in a minute. It is a post caloric. It's post caloric in there, but it's the burn. It's the caloric burn after you work out.
Nice. Epoch. That is the technical term.
That's the technical term, and
Thank you.
I will get that. And I'm sorry, it came to mind too many books.
We have to stump you somehow. You're too perfect. So
well, no, I'm not perfect, but I'm darn good. I'm darn good. All right, so here goes. So why would I stop that?
Yeah.
With a fatty cheeseburger and a shake. Now, I understand because when you have a good workout and you sweat, your body craves carbohydrates.
Seriously, yeah.
But what kind of carbohydrates are we putting in our body?
Yeah.
We go to bread. It happens to me. I have that urge, but I resist it. But I want carbs that move, fibrous carbs that move through my body.
I want protein after I work out. That's what I want. Protein and hydration.
We talked about that as a replacement. That's automatic.
Yeah.
But hey, if I can find some fiber, I'm going to get that in too because I want even that protein to move. After all that synthesizes, I want it out and I want to wake up feeling emptied, as your doctor said, we'll go emptied out, clean. Everything about me is going to be clean. I want my body to function clean. So why would you? It's like running and just stopping all of a sudden.
Right.
What happens? I mean, medically, if I just run 100 yards as fast as I can and I just stop and freeze,
Right.
is that not bad for the heart?
It's bad for the heart, and it's also bad for the muscles, right? Because you do need to cool down somewhat, right? Don't you want to give your muscles a chance to, because I always kind of go through the whole rubber band analogy, you want to warm them up, although they say now it's more important to cool down than warm up. What do you think about that?
Well, that's related to what we're talking about now.
Okay.
You want the cool down. So
Yeah.
why would you give your body more stress
Right,
by picking out on something that's going to harm you?
right.
Cool your body down with something good.
Right.
All right.
Fuel.
Now, fuel. Good, clean fuel. Now, your conscious. Your conscious says one thing, but here's how I trick my clients. When they have a great workout and they say, "Clee, I feel like rewarding myself with a little. I can't even say the restaurant, but something factory bread.
Right. Right.
I say, okay, before you do, I want you to have 2 glasses of water
Good.
because it's all going down the same way, right?
Right.
And you're having that feeling of satiety. And when you get that feeling, you won't have the urge to eat that bread,
Right.
And if you do, something's really wrong with you. You're just really addicted, We got to, and that's where you come in,
Well, I mean, but let's talk about that. Don't you find people, motivating people is difficult. And I feel like motivation comes from within. So what I try to do is introduce topics and discussions where people can find their own motivation, right? Because I can't really fix you. I can get you ahead of the game in terms of your cancer. I can take it out, but your immune system has to kick in. And it's the same thing with what you're doing. Like you can show them how to work out and talk to them, but they have to find the motivation to do the total thing. And what did you say? People who are great, say that again, are great all the time. I can't
that was
remember.
so amazing. I can't even repeat it.
It was so good. It was like when
Because
you're
what I was
great,
thinking about?
they're great at all things. It was organic.
It was
right?
very
What you said
organic.
was very
And,
organic. So
D, we're going to record that and we're going to coin that.
we're gonna
Because-
look at the tape.
Because I was thinking about EPOC. That's exercise post excess post exercise oxygen. That's what
Nice.
EPOC is. All right, so
Nice.
boom, it comes. Man, I want to remember that so bad. We'll remember it.
It's going to be on the tape.
And it's gonna be on.
And
And we're gonna
if you
come.
remember, call in. Okay, call us and tell us.
You got to
what it
remember
is.
that because that was some bad stuff.
But it
That
really
was some-
is. And basically what you were saying is like you have to be somewhat vigilant. Now, I do tell people, look, if there's certain things that you love, like your Snickers person, if they were talking to me, I would say you can have Snickers. You just can't live off of Snickers, okay? So treat yourself. Make it a treat. But what I was going to say is that I think that some people really use food as some type of an emotional substitute.
You touched on the nerve, Doc.
They do. And I feel like exercise can also be that emotional substitute. Like you can use exercise, which is good for you, as a way to get out of depression. This is, for some people, this is a very depressing time. I can kind of relate to it, but I've been working every day, so I'm not really like isolated the way some people are. But somebody told me on the phone today, and I talked to them a long time about it, they felt very isolated. So they use food as a way to deal with that emotion. But you can use exercise and fitness as a way to really bring yourself out of any difficult mood.
You're growing both ways. Let's say we do the food way. We're going to grow this way.
Yeah.
But if we use exercise, we grow this way and this way.
Guns.
So it takes a little more work my way. But the overall, the glide, the constant glow comes from the exercise side of it. And it feels, when you have an addiction or something chronic going on, the first thing we need to do is detox.
Right.
And then immediately fill the void with something else.
Fill the
It's when we
void.
don't fill the void.
Right. And that's where the problem
That's
starts.
where the problem
It's not going to
starts.
be alcohol, guys. It's not going to be drugs and stuff like that, and not other activities that, this is a kid-friendly show, so I can't say the other stuff. But, it's not going to be these other things. If you can fill those voids, the challenges and everything that we face with some of these other healthful things, it's a great thing. I want you to know how you can contact CJ if you want to get more information, and you're going to see him in some other venues. But can you just tell us real quick in about 15 seconds how to contact you and when we can see you again?
Everybody's doing IG. Instagram, CJ Functional, or you can hit me on all things CJ, www.cjffla.com. CJFF as in funky, LA.com.
And then you're going to be appearing sometime
I'll be
soon
on
something?
I'll be on Fox Soul Monday. Mike and Donnie show, Fox Soul. It is a Fox network. It streams online based on for the African American market,
Very
and we're going to be
nice.
talking about purpose. And I get to infuse the fitness into purpose. And also Tuesday mentorship moments. Each one teach one right here at Moore Studios.
See, you're going to have plenty of time to catch up with CJ, and I think it's going to be worth your while. Listen, this can be a challenging time, or it can be a time where you can rebuild and retool. You know, I've decided to get another board certification. I've been studying. I've talked about that to some of my other friends and colleagues. They've been pursuing things, getting certificates. You've got plenty of downtime. Why not use it? You can also use it to become more fit, to modify your diet, work on your appearance, your skin, you know, network with people, get on the phone. There's so many mediums now. So why don't we, instead of focusing on what's wrong, let's focus on what's right and what we can make right, okay? I know you can do it. I believe in you. And I just want to thank you for joining us on J15 at the beginning of 2021. And I wish you health and wellness, health from the inside out. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Cutter, Surgical Oncology with Curetology, and we'll see you next time.